Being behind me, you know, Mikey's a tough champion, true warrior. You know, like I said, I brought the best out of him. He brought the best out of me. You know, unfortunately, I got the short end of the stick. You know, I'm up here looking like Martin off of, you know, when he got beat up by Tommy Hearns with the big lip. You know what I'm saying? It's all good. You know, we go back to the drawing board. You know, I sit down with my team and my management, and we see what the next best move is for me. You know.
Right on.
Robert, the speed and right here to your right.
Okay.
The speed and the length that you were showing in that first round was so impressive. It looked like you were, you know, on your way. But what did Mikey do from that point forward to really confuse the issue for you?
It was myself, you know. Like I said, I couldn't get the timing off certain shots, so that kind of made me shy away from taking back, you know, what I was doing. And like I said, that's Mikey. He beats himself. He sticks to his game plan, and he does that well.
Yeah, I just want to add something else as well. I've just heard, as I mentioned, what a class act Robert Easter is. He walked into Mikey's locker room on his way over here, shook the hand of every team member in Mikey's locker room and congratulated them. So that's the kind of people they are. And it's really a pleasure to work with you guys. And as I said, there will be many, many other big nights for you.
Yeah, when you're going through these training camps, you're training for a fighter, you know, they're the ultimate enemy, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But at the end of the day, you know, you went 12 hard rounds, champion versus champion. You know, you have no choice but to respect a man and his team. You know, and that's all I wanted to show Mikey. You know what I'm saying? This is a business. That's what I told him. This is a business. You know, we fought. You know, we duked it out. You know, he came out victorious, and you know, I respect him for that.
Well, there he is. Thank you, Robert. There he is, the new unified lightweight world champion from right here, Los Angeles, Mikey Garcia. You guys have any questions for Mikey?
I'm sure.
Yeah, Mikey, you fooled me with the body, man. Fooled me with the body, man. I thought I had one. You know, like I said, you know, Mikey's a true champion, true warrior. You know, he brought the best out of me. I brought the best out of him, and he came out victorious.
Yeah, you definitely also brought the best out of me. You fought very well. You know, you gave me a good fight, and you made me work. So I congratulate you on your performance also. Thanks.
Hey, congratulations on the win tonight. When you talk about Errol Spence, he came over and he spoke to some of us at ringside after the fight, and we asked him what he thought about it. And when he was concluding his remarks, he said he was licking his chops. You know, he gave you respect for being a top-notch fighter, but it seemed like he didn't think that your size would translate to where he's at. What do you think about the fact that you're both tremendous fighters, but that he's so much bigger than you?
No, that's a challenge. You know, I am moving up all the way to welterweight. You know, if I land that fight, it'll be my first attempt at welterweight, and I'm going against the top guy there, against the best in the division. I'm prepared to take on that challenge. Like I said, I'm here to challenge myself, you know, and he is the best. He might feel that it's, you know, an easy fight for him when I'm too small. You know, well, that's fine. You know, let's get in the ring and let's get to work.
I'd like to ask Robert Garcia about that also. Robert, I know that you've had, in past statements, had some misgivings about the prospect of Mikey going up to welterweight. Can you expound on that now that it seems though it's going to probably become a reality at the end of this year?
Look, we've always said that we shouldn't move too fast and take that challenge right now because, you know, we're doing great at lightweight and even junior welterweight, but that's what Mikey wants, and we know that he does have the skills, he has the time to compete. You know, it's not going to be easy, and Mikey said before, you know, he loves those challenges, and this will probably be the first fight that he's ever had where he's going to be the underdog, and I think that's what's going to motivate him even more. That's why he's really so intense. So I'm, you know, from now on, we're going to take the fight.
just give it up for Robert Easter. He is leaving.
All right, that's it.
See you, Robert. Good night, champ. Thanks, brother.
No, we exchanged punches on several occasions. On one occasion, I remember he landed a good right hand to the head. It didn't hurt me, but he felt that he might have hurt me, and he came on the attack, so I had to defend. I had to, be careful. I got to block, but I would come back. He's a fighter. He fights, and there's moments, we're in a fight. I mean, you are expected to get hit once in a while.
Mikey, when you hurt him that early in the fight and you had him down in the third round,
Yes.
when you had him down in the third round, did you feel that you were going to finish him and be able to knock him out in the fight?
No, not right away there. He got up. He wasn't completely hurt. I caught him with a good right hand and then that left hook that put him down. But he wasn't out. I could see it in his eyes. I could see it in his body. He was wide awake. It's not like he was, to the point where I could finish him off. I tried to land a few other punches throughout the fight, and I think I might have hurt him with a body shot at one time. But it was towards the end of the round, and he was game. He survived. Then he focused more on just surviving and defending himself, and made it a little more complicated for me. Up until the 12th round, I was still landing some good shots, and I still tried to land some good head shots in the last and final round. But I didn't feel enough damage was done to try to put him out.
Did you feel that he kind of went into survival mode in the second half of the fight?
There's a few rounds where he did. I think he went a little more defensive. I don't know if you want to call that survival mode. Maybe he was a little hurt from that body shot, or maybe he felt a punch upstairs that might have hurt him. And he's smart. He's a champion. He wanted to survive, get his bearings again, and he made it to the 12th round.
Mikey, talk about his jab. Do you feel if he would have popped the jab more, it would have given you more difficulty? Or did you guys have that plan?
I felt coming into the fight, I felt, and we all thought, he was going to try to use that jab and use that reach. So we were prepared for that. He really wasn't snapping it hard. He was just, throwing it out there. So I just had to wait for the right time, the right distance, and range for me to be able to land. I landed some good jabs on him, even though he had the reach. I was able to time it perfectly and land a solid jab. And I think he respected that enough because he would move back.
Do you see any similarities? You see, obviously, his arrows at 147. Do you see any similarities in the style?
Look, I think it's a different fight. Errol Spence is southpaw. He bangs to the body a lot. It's a different fight. This guy Easter was fighting, trying to use that distance, but it's just a whole different fighter.
Hold on there, Dylan Hernandez.
I'm not sure if this is for Mike or maybe for Richard. When you guys look ahead to a fight with Spence, are you guys looking at pay-per-view in Vegas, or if not, what are maybe some of the other options?
Well, definitely it's a pay-per-view fight. I mean, it's one of the biggest fights you can make. It's sort of like a dream matchup, almost too good to be true. Definitely pay-per-view. And I think for pay-per-view, Las Vegas is the perfect place. But I do believe with this huge turnout Mikey had tonight here, as I mentioned, it was slightly bigger than what we had for Mars and Santa Cruz. But for Mikey to come back here after 7 years, I mentioned it before, Los Angeles Staples Center has its 4th franchise here. After the Lakers, the Clippers, and the Kings, they have the Garcias now. Mikey Garcia, and I think this building here is going to see much more of Mikey Garcia.
So Richard, from a promoter standpoint, what's the next step and how fast does that happen?
Well, Mikey is his own boss, so Mikey will be calling the shots, and I think the good foundation is that Mikey and Errol Spence both seem to want to have the fight. They both have the same advisor, so we'll see how quickly it can be put together. But usually when two fighters want to fight, two fighters who are in control of their own destiny, it's relatively easy to get stuff done.
Mikey, over here. Not bad. in the first couple of rounds, Robert got his punches in and jabs to the body, but in the second and third round, you started to look a little more comfortable, and once you got the knockdown, starting the fourth round, you kind of looked a little more lively, had a more spring in your step. Did that knockdown kind of help alleviate a little bit of the pressure when it comes to fighting Robert?
I like to be patient early on in my fights anyways. First couple rounds, I'm feeling my opponent, finding that distance, that range, feeling his speed, his power. So it was just a matter of time before I started to get on the attack, get my rhythm going. Just so happens that I knocked him down in that third round. But, I started getting that rhythm going, and after I noticed that I could hurt him and I felt that I was starting to take control, that was it. There was no turning back, no walking back.
Lastly, and obviously you want to fight Errol Spence all the way at 147, and winning that title would give you a world title in 5 different weight classes. What does that mean for you legacy-wise to join in extremely elite and exclusive class of fighters winning a world title in 5 different weight classes?
Well, that's why I'm trying to get that, because there's only a select few, and only the greats, have accomplished that feat. I'm here in search of that, and I'm not just trying to pick up a belt against nobody, against someone that just happens to be a champion. I'm going against the best. I'm trying to get the best fighter, the most, just dangerous man at welterweight. I'm trying to get that because that's what I think will, cement my name and put that, stamp of approval for everybody. No one else will be doing that. No one else is doing that right now. There's no other fighter on this planet doing what I'm doing.
It's, as I said, dare to be great. Dare to be great. Very few do that.
Richard, you said it's one of the biggest fights that could be made. How many pay-per-view buys do you expect this could generate? I know you've broken down the numbers a million times by now, I'm sure.
I love to do pay-per-views, and I'm usually pretty accurate with my, with my estimation. So I think this is going to be a big pay-per-view, and I'm not going to tell you how many yet, but I always promote pay-per-views. I want to break records, and so we're going to do a big number with that.
And a question for Robert and Mikey. We've seen fighters in the past, like Roy Jones Jr. and Bernard Hopkins, utilize a conditioning guru, like a Mackie Showstone, when they go up for a high-profile fight at a greater weight. Would you bring in someone like that, or not him in particular, but just some kind of strength and conditioning guru?
Look, it's kind of different the way things work with especially with Mikey. I said it to a few people before. This is like one of the first training camps that Mikey starts doing sit-ups. Maybe that's the start. Maybe that's the start to get himself to a welterweight. He hardly ever does sit-ups or pull-ups or push-ups or none of that stuff. He does his running. He runs very hard. And when we're in the gym, we do a lot of rounds of sparring. That's pretty much what what our training camp is about. The rest is something that we've never really used with Mikey. So it'd be something that moving up to welterweight, something that we would probably consider and maybe talk about before before I make a decision between me, Mikey, my father, and the rest of the team. See what we decide to do.
Obviously, you're a great boxer, but Spence is as a big 47 who could even fight a 54. How much muscle would you have to possibly add on to just deal with his strength and power?
There's other things that I can try to use. I can try to use speed. I can try to use angles. I can footwork. There's a lot of things that I can use to overcome that height, that reach, the southpaw, the strength, all that. I'm prepared to do whatever it takes, to compete and win that fight as well.
Mikey, when Spence visited us at ringside, he said he wants to do this fight this year, and he mentioned November. That might be a pretty quick turnaround. Would you be willing to do it as early as November?
Well, I said I wanted to do before the end of the year. November's before the end of the year. I was thinking, November, December. It's not too far off. If we land on a date that we can, compromise there, I think we can have a good training camp, enough time. That's all that it takes. If we set a date that allows both of us to train, well for it, I have no problem.
Right here, Mikey. Just a quick question. Even though it was the left hook that dropped him, you managed to land the right hand pretty frequently, and it seemed pretty easy. What was it about him or your game plan that you were able to land the right hand as frequent?
He kept bending towards his right, so my right hand would actually come down and land a couple of times. It was hard for me to land it when he was standing straight up. Sometimes I'd miss, but it's just the timing. I had to figure out the right time for me to let go of that right hand. That left hook that dropped him came after a right hand. You know, as he was pulling back, I caught him with the left hook. On the other occasions, you know, I landed a good left hook. I mean, we were ready to do whatever it takes, you know, and we practiced a lot in the gym, and, you know, we knew it was just about getting that right distance, that right range, so that I could let go of my hands.
Mikey, you know, there's been a lot of talk about, you know, you haven't faced a fighter that big, but Spence also to this point has only faced really like Kell Brook, right, as far as like a world-class fighter. He hasn't faced a boxer like you, and I know you keep saying that you've seen something in his game. Do you think that he'd be in for a surprise as far as your boxing ability and angles and footwork and those sort of things?
You know, he's a terrific fighter. He's an experienced fighter, and, you know, he's very strong. You know, he's a dangerous man, so I don't know if I can surprise him. I think, you know, he's got the experience. He knows, you know, the kind of fighter I am. But I think what will surprise him is how well I can do other things. If you're standing on the outside, you know, everybody can just see a simple guy, just straight 1, 2. Nothing special about that. Ask any of my opponents what they feel after the fight. Is it easy? Was it like they expected? I think they'll all tell you it wasn't what they expected.
Okay, Mikey, have you guys considered maybe when the fight gets made, having some sort of stipulation where the Spence can't go over a certain weight, like rehydrate? I don't know if you thought about that.
I think the IPF has its own regulations and laws on that, so I got nothing to ask. I ain't asking for no catch weight either.
Whatever we say is not going to change Mikey's mind idea, you know, of fighting Errol Spence. So we're going to go for it. You know, we've talked to my dad, and my dad tells me earlier today, after the fight in the locker room, says, contact Manny Pacquiao. My dad would rather go after Manny Pacquiao. He's a WBA champion, and but that just doesn't interest Mike. I think we're going to go straight into Errol Spence.
Mikey, would you want that fight in San Antonio, or would you want that fight in Dallas or in Los Angeles?
I think we already started talking about that, and I think that fight belongs in Vegas. You know, a big fight like that, I think, belongs in Vegas. It just, you know, it's a huge attraction, big fight, you know, and I don't think that there's any other better venue for it.
Mikey, what do you rate your performance? I know you haven't had a chance to watch tape, but what did you grade your performance tonight?
I think I did very well. You know, I think I overcame the height and reach. You know, I did well. I hardly got hit. You know, a couple jabs, you know, you're boxing, but overall, I didn't get hit with solid punches. I wasn't hurt, and I hurt my opponent several times. Body shots upstairs, I dropped them. I mean, I don't think I could have done much more. You know, if I had stopped him, obviously that would have been probably a better ending to the fight, but you know, you saw me 12 rounds, you saw me adjust, you saw me use my feet at times, you saw me fight on the outside, you saw me fight on the inside. I think I did, you know, great.
It was a masterful performance, and please give it up for Mikey Garcia and our unified lightweight world champion. Thank you.
Thank you.